Hello world, double thumbs here. So you finally bought yourself a Sony A6400 and can't wait to film your home and YouTube videos in that sharp Sony 4K. And you also want to spend more money on lenses like the Sony 18-105 f4G lens or the Sony 16-55 f2.8G lens. But these are expensive lenses and you're low on funds because you just spent $1,000 on your camera. And I was in this situation about a year and a half ago when I first bought my Sony A6400, and I started looking at some affordable cheap lenses, and I was able to find some, and today I'm gonna share 4 of them today. And it's interesting, you can buy all these 4 lenses for less than $150. Let's go see what these are. And the first lens I'll talk about is the vintage lens. And I got this Samsung 50mm f1.4 lens for free because my dad used this lens on his Minolta X700. And you might also have some of these vintage classic lenses too in your basement, you just might not know it. And even if you don't, your local camera store or eBay will sell these guys for anywhere between 20 bucks to 200 bucks. So these are definitely not gonna break the bank while allowing you to add more field of view. The only thing is that you need to buy a adapter to fit it to the A6400, and most systems will have an adapter to fit it to the E-mount bodies. And I had to buy a Minolta MD mount to Sony E-mount adapter, and with this I am able to fit a Minolta lens or a Samsung Minolta lens onto my Sony A6400. And it's unbelievable how you can get such a small and light f1.4 lens for 20 bucks. And yes, the vintage lenses are gonna be manual focus without any stabilization, and some of them are gonna be in very bad conditions. But as long as you don't mind adjusting focus yourself and doing some research before you buy these lenses, they're gonna give you some serious value for video work. And it's something about this vintage lens being on a modern camera body, it's cool. And the second lens I'll talk about is the modern manual focus lens. And yes, you could really buy a new lens for your A6400 for less than $150. Companies like Neewer and Meike make bright prime lenses for the Sony E-mount system for less than $150 on Amazon. And you could buy these, but personally speaking, I prefer buying a used lens that were a bit more expensive when new, like this Rokinon 12mm f2. I bought this for $150 used, and I'm really happy with this purchase. It's sharp, it's good at low light, and it's ultra wide angle, so it serves that special purpose. The only negative with this lens is that it's manual focus and also doesn't have any stabilization. In terms of focus, hasn't been a big issue for me because it's an ultra wide angle lens, so I just keep it close to my face and just adjust focus with Sony's focus peaking feature. The problem comes when it's a handheld kind of situation because this lens isn't stabilized and the A6400 doesn't have any in-body stabilization. So if you do a lot of handheld filming, you need the third lens, which is the Sony 16-50 f3.5 to 5.6, the kit lens. And as a cheap starter lens, the kit lens definitely isn't the sharpest, the brightest, or the most stable. But it is quite light, quite small, and it's only $100 when you buy the camera. Also, the 16-50 field of view, which translates to 24 to 75 in full frame equivalent, allows you to learn which field of view you like using. That standard zoom range is really useful. You cover from wide to telephoto with just one lens, and if you're a non-professional who's just getting into cameras, then you don't know which field of view you like to use. And the kit lens is a cheap lens you can always grow out of and move on to more expensive lens afterwards. Yeah, and I really think this is an underrated lens, especially for YouTube and home videos, which definitely is enough for that purpose. And the last affordable lens I'll talk about is the Sony 55-210 f4.5 to 6.3. And like the 16-50 kit lens, this lens isn't the sharpest or the brightest and not the prettiest either. It just looks like two lenses put together. But it was also sold as a kit lens with some of the Sony APS-C cameras, so there's no shortages of this lens in the used market. And I picked this up for $75 from the local camera store. $75 for a native E-mount lens that will autofocus and has stabilization built in. It's a steal. To be honest though, I haven't used this lens much because I find that the 18-105's 105mm to be enough telephoto for myself in most cases. But if I didn't have the 18-105, the 55-210 would be my go-to for any telephoto needs. And the 210mm, which translates to 315mm in full frame, is pretty impressive. And in my opinion, the 55-210 is in a unique position in the E-mount world just because it is the only affordable telephoto lens. And if you want to shoot any kind of bird or action shots, you do have to buy that 70-350 G lens, which is $900. So if you're just filming non-professionally and just don't want to break the bank for a telephoto need, then the 55-210 is your only choice. And the f4.5 definitely isn't ideal for any kind of low light situations, but most telephoto lenses are f4.5 or worse. And it is stabilized, which is a huge bonus for the unstabilized A6400. So in conclusion, these lenses give you amazing 4K image quality for YouTube and home videos. And they might not be the sharpest lens or the best quality lens, but if you're just starting out on YouTube or video making in general, it would be risky to spend thousands of dollars on lenses and cameras. So these lenses allow you to see if you like filming, and it's definitely served me well. And although they're not my most used lenses anymore, I definitely would keep them because I'm not going to get a lot of money for them anyways, and I can keep them and use them whenever I do need them. But what are some other affordable lenses for the Sony APS-C system? Let me know down below, and until next time, bam!